everyone, and welcome back to our Trends of 2022 podcast series. So today we're going to be going through some of Manni's top trends that we need to be looking out for in 2022. I'm really excited to hear what Manni has to say. Hopefully you've been finding this series useful so far, and let's dive straight in. So Manni, tell us what trends you're predicting for 2022.
Well, I'm just going to give a quick list of the four key things I'm going to talk about. One is, influencer marketing becoming what I call more common practice, keeping video short, and how to use video within, key social platforms. SEO of PPC. I know we talked about SEO and PPC in the last episode, but I want to deep dive a little bit more into, what's, good common practices and how paid social is becoming more top funnel strategy and how you can leverage paid social in that. And the one I'm going to start off with first is influencer marketing. And it's weird because obviously as a digital media agency, we don't really do much influencer marketing, but we're aware of kind of content being driven. And, this podcast series is all about providing value and insights. And the first thing I would be good to get your view on this is, has the term influencer kind of lost its meaning? Because I'm looking at a lot of this content being generated. The stats show that Gen Zs and millenniums are now adapting onto it, spending less time on TV and spending more time on stuff like gaming, short form content, videos across YouTube. People like Mr. Beast, who recreated the Squid Games and got 103 million views in 4 days. Would you class Mr. Beast as an influencer or a content generator? Because when I'm looking at his stuff, it's like he's creating organic content. And I feel like a lot of people are jumping onto Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts and YouTube and trying to be an influencer, but don't really understand that an influencer influences their audience within a speciality of what they do. And there's a lot of leverage for clients out there to tap into that. Specifically, if let's say you're a house designer or interior designer, then you might want to, you will then develop a following of people that are interested in interior design and might work in that industry, or people that might come across you because they bought a new house, and you might leverage that platform then to make money from. But you're seen as like the go-to influencer expert, almost like in that field. But is that the same as someone like Mr. Beast? Would you class him as an influencer?
I think it's an interesting point, and I think you can be both. I think there's obviously a bit of a stigma around the term influencer, but I think from what you said there, kind of raised to me a really great point of you can be both, but I don't think you can be an influencer first. Like if you setting out, I want to be an influencer, well, actually, no, what you need to be is you need to be a content creator. If you create good content, you will then develop an engaged audience. And once you have an audience that are engaged in what you do, at that point, can you influence them? So you then become an influencer. And I think you can kind of wear both hats. I know a lot of influencers themselves don't like to be called an influencer. They go, well, no, I'm not an influencer. I'm a content creator, which to me seems like a very good get out of jail free card if they don't get any results from the campaigns they're working on. It's like, well, I'm here to create content, not to make people buy things.
Yeah.
I think people shouldn't be so hung up on the two terms, but definitely think, you can't just decide to be an influencer and that on itself is going to work. You have to create great content first. Lead with, I want to be a content creator. I want to create the best content of anyone else in my field. And then the influencing side kind of comes from that.
But that's the point I'm trying to get down to. It's creating content. And the trend we've seen throughout 2021 is that more user-generated content, more organic created content, that people can believe into and don't feel like it's fake or create, there's a kind of strategy behind it, and you can see that they're trying to be targeted in a certain way. It's that, authentic, that's the word I'm looking for. Authentic content is better. So if you are, looking to kind of create content, listen to what I just said. Show people what your specialism is. There's a lot of people out there, pushing out like stuff like Pretty Little Things and elements like that and claim to be influencers. But what our clients are really looking for are those niches, those people that are specialists, like, taking the interior designer into one, because they're the ones they want to work with, because that's where the real value is. And that's why I say it's going to become more common practice, because beyond, and this leads into my next topic about SEO, is it's all about creating content, and content is all about creating, insights, engagements, which effectively drive a link back to that company's website if you've worked with that particular influencer in a certain way. So yeah, influencer marketing is going to become more common practice. We're not talking about working with the likes of Mr. Beast, but what you are going to see is companies work with content generators, sponsor those videos, even if it gets only like 10, 20,000, which means it'll be cheaper for smaller businesses. And, I don't want, big businesses that are listening. I want the smaller businesses to listen and think, right, you can get involved with this at a low, investment cost, because you can sponsor those local content generators that people follow and like, if that's where your audience is, and go after them, and it doesn't cost more than you think. And it supports the wider strategies of what you're doing across paid social, SEO, and PPC, and getting your brand out there.
Yeah.
So
can I ask a question on that, Manni? So as a kind of, you focus a lot on the paid media side. Are you intending on investing more budget into influencer marketing in 2022 for your clients?
Influencer, yes, because it's more building what we're seeing with social media now. And that brings that can lead straight into the next topic there, is that actually it's becoming more top of the funnel. It's all about awareness, engagement. The iOS 14, it has really impacted data analysis from a paid perspective. So yes, what we've seen a lot more clients request is, I'd say, organic social, but I already know that organic social is dead if you're just going to be doing rudimental posting without any kind of strategy, because the algorithms across Facebook, aren't as good as what they used to be. It's a pay to play platform. So yes, as an agency, one thing we're looking into is like, right, it kind of blends into kind of the digital outreach, PR, content. There's quite a lot of overlap with everything we're doing. And part of me is thinking, well, how can we tap into that? And how can we create, and use that as an offering and provide that as a service as an agency, where we look like, say, well, actually, we can get you in front of, key specialist content creators in key areas, which will support what we're doing with paid social. And how can we track that through links, or how we can use that to create authoritative links back to your site from someone who then might have a website as well to support that. So there's more things around it that we're looking at. So yeah, it's something I don't know how or when, but something we definitely want to look into. But that leads straight into the next one, which is, paid social top funnel strategy. And what I mean by this is, and I just talked about, we are talking to a lot of clients that are coming in that are saying they're struggling with their, Facebook ad accounts, Instagram ad accounts, where the impact of iOS 14 means they're not getting the results that they were. And I'm here to say, you're not. Get on board with that iOS 14, Apple shook everything up. Unless your users or your potential audiences opted in to be tracked, to have their data shared, then great. If not, and what we're seeing is a reduction of over 50% in audience insights on average across, clients in different sectors and different areas and regions. So there's other ways you need to start using, because even though you're not seeing in-platform results, you still see the results in terms of the bottom line as a business. So what we don't see is sales be impacted in terms to the company overall. What we do see an issue is attribution modeling. So like, where did that sale come from? Social media, but that's where you need to look at different platforms and different techniques to look at, right, what's working, what's not. You need to start using paid social more. And when I say top funnel, I mean like your first engagement. One feedback we got from a client was that when they asked one of their new customers how they heard about them, they say the CTO of that company said, I saw your ad on LinkedIn. So that's good feedback to us, because even though in our data and results that didn't show that that had an impact on conversions, but in the back end they know, and because they're capturing more data from their customers that are on board, say, well, how did you hear about us? And that's what it comes down to is, how are you going to get out there across all the noise and all the digital channels out there? And you need to start using paid social, as I call top funnel strategy. We're going to talk about video and other elements and content generation. This is all about brand awareness, getting them engaged with what your product has to offer. If you're an e-commerce client, well, what's good about your products? What information is not just about, oh, we got a sale going on. Great. Everybody has a sale going on around Christmas. But, what are customers saying about your product? How are you engaging with them in terms of like showing the benefits of the product, where it might tap into someone's personal, beliefs in terms of, is this product, ethically sustainable? Is it recyclable? Is it being ethically sourced? is it fair trade? All these elements, is it not cutting down rainforests, etc.? There's a lot of things you can start talking about, engaging with your customers that they care about above the fact that you have a sale or a price point. And that's all part of the purchase consideration. But as a brand, you need to start using all paid social. And, paid social isn't just Facebook, Instagram. You've got LinkedIn. If you're B2B, you've got Snapchat, TikTok. You've got Twitter, you've got Pinterest, and there's so many other social platforms out there. Like YouTube is pretty much a social platform. Messenger, WhatsApp. There's so many platforms for you to start engaging as a brand and actually starting with a conversation or awareness to say, this is who we are. This is what we offer. This is how we separate ourselves out from everyone in the market. So we'll see more branding campaigns, and we're seeing that now where companies come to us saying, well, we just want to do a prospecting campaign across Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, because they know that it's not about results anymore. And as soon as companies get that idea about stop looking at bottom line results from social media, that's going to become more and more impossible. You will get that from your on-site and Google Analytics elements to see where traffic's come from. You won't get that in platform as we used to. So use the platforms of what they're adapting to. We talked about audio in the last session. We talked about, reels, video content. There's so many different variations of how you engage with them. Not all of that's going to be driving conversions anymore like it used to. We've gone over that, hill of enjoying great conversion data elements. Now we're moving on to a completely different hill, a completely different mountain where the KPIs and the engagements and the brand awareness and the consideration is playing more of a part in terms of what's supporting, I said, bottom line figures you see in your company.
I wonder if in 2022 there's any scope for Apple and Facebook to work it out together and get the results back again, because you think surely Facebook ad spend is going to drop regardless of obviously everything you said. Like if people have gone from, I used to see numbers, as a result from this, to they can't see it anymore. Certainly those conversations are happening with some of our clients. They're going, well, if I can't see a direct figure of the conversions that came through, obviously we've got Google Analytics and we can see if the referral of the conversion came from Facebook or whatever else. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that pans out any differently in the future.
I think since Facebook took out a big page ad, was in Forbes, having a go at Apple, probably not. Yeah. Unless they put an apology out. But I'm pretty sure in the background they're trying to work with them. And there are things you can do in terms of verifying your domain and elements like that within, Facebook ad accounts to do that. Moving on to number 3, but a very, very quick one is keep your video content short. I got some stats here. So more than 31% of global marketers currently invest in short form video content. I know that 46% of them consider the strategy effective when it comes to performance and engagement. And in 2022, 89% of global marketers plan to continue investing or increase their investment into short form video content. That has a range of impacts across so many different platforms. I talked about this earlier when we're talking about, or in terms of how, millennials and Gen Zs are kind of consuming less TV, but more like video content, like Mr. Beast now. And this is what it's about. You consider that your audiences, when they get 103 million views, look at all the in-stream ads that happen, but they're like 5 to 10 seconds. But it makes an impact. And that's why, keeping video short is key, which makes it challenging for any video agencies out there that needs to create. And I'm sure Nush will give her input in the next episode. But it's all about focusing on your call to action and getting as much information you can in 10 seconds. And 10 seconds is a lot of time when you really think about it, if you really structure what you need to do. But that adds a lot more benefit from a paid media perspective, because it means you can create more video content, which can be used across so many different platforms like YouTube, like display. So you can then put that video on mobile, in app, or on particular websites as a display format. Facebook videos, stories, Instagram reels, Instagram stories, TikTok ads, Twitter video ads, LinkedIn video ads. Just so many opportunities out there. And video is king right now in terms of content, especially when we think of content as a whole. Video is a big chunk of that, and a leading pillar. And, it means that, not all video has to be live and the John Lewis advert that we see across Christmas, but it's, using video. And if you want a long-term video, put that on your website or put that on your YouTube page, but then create 5-10 second